Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here. If you're over 60 and you're still struggling with sluggish bowels, even though you're doing exactly what you were told, diligently eating those giant bowls of cardboard tasting bran and following all that standard medical advice to eat more fiber. Listen, I hear you. And honestly, your frustration is incredibly valid. It feels like you're loading up on supplements, doing literally everything right, and yet nothing is moving. Well, today, we're going to dive right into the fascinating biology of exactly why that keeps happening, and, much more importantly, what we can actually do about it. Think about this for a second. Imagine trying to push dry sand through a narrow pipe. It's a pretty powerful visual, right? You keep adding more and more sand, which, by the way, is exactly what fiber does. It just adds bulk, thinking that's going to push things through. But without any water, without any lubrication, nothing moves. You see, after the age of 60, our intestinal lining naturally produces a bit less mucus, and the muscles lining your colon, well, they get a little weaker and slower. So dumping more dry bulk into a slow, dry pipe, it just doesn't fix the issue. Honestly, it usually just makes the bloating and constipation way, way worse. It really highlights a massive contrast between the standard advice we get and what our bodies actually need as we get older. Mainstream advice basically screams, add bulk. But the real biological solution for an aging gut, we need to add lubrication and we need to add movement. We literally have to throw out that whole bulk mentality. Instead, we're going to explore 3 very specific morning habits, and they are based entirely on internal lubrication and mechanical movement. We're going straight to the root cause here. All right, let's jump straight into habit 1, the wake-up massage. Okay, so before you even get out of bed in the morning, we're going to use this incredible, free mechanical fix. We borrowed this straight from osteopathic medicine, and it targets something called the ileocecal valve. Now, what is that? Well, it's this crucial junction where your small intestine meets your large intestine. You can really just think of it like a trapdoor for waste. The catch is, in older adults, this little trapdoor can get sluggish or even get stuck partially closed. And when that happens, waste backs up. It creates this awful right-sided gas, pressure, and just stubborn constipation. And listen to me, all the fiber in the world cannot fix a stuck mechanical door. It needs a mechanical solution. So let's get that valve moving. It's super simple. While you're still lying flat on your back in bed, I want you to find your right hip bone. Got it? Okay, now move your fingers about 2 inches up and then 2 inches inward toward your belly button. Right there. That is exactly where the valve sits. Now for step 3, just apply a really light clockwise circular pressure with 2 or 3 fingers. You don't need to press hard, just imagine you're testing a sore bruise. Hold that gentle circular motion for about 30 seconds. Finally, you're going to switch to a slow upward sweeping motion, moving right along the right side of your abdomen up towards your ribs. Do that sweep 2 or 3 times. That sweeping actually follows the exact natural direction your colon uses to move waste. The whole shebang takes literally 60 seconds. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, if this is really so effective, why on earth hasn't my doctor mentioned it? Well, think about it. A month's supply of probiotics is going to run you anywhere from $30 to $60. And even then, you're basically gambling on whether those bacterial strains actually survive long enough to reach your colon. But this ileocecal massage, $0. It completely bypasses the pharmacy, nobody's making a profit off of it, but it directly addresses the actual physical mechanical root of that sluggishness. It's a total game changer. Moving right along to habit 2, hydration from within. All right, so your valve is awake, you finally step out of bed, and it's time for hydration. Now, this is a surprisingly simple routine that almost everyone gets wrong. Why? Because of 2 very common mistakes: temperature and salt type. Think about it like this. If you chug cold tap water mixed with regular table salt, it actually moves through you incredibly fast, completely bypasses your colon, and gets flushed straight out via your kidneys. Your colon stays dry as a bone. But if you switch to warm water, that actually relaxes the smooth muscle tissue in your intestines, allowing the water to move slowly enough to actually reach the colon. Add a tiny pinch of unrefined sea salt to that warm water, and suddenly, boom, that moisture is being pulled deeply into the colon wall. Let's dig into the biology of why that works for a second. Unrefined salt, like a good sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, contains vital trace minerals, specifically things like magnesium and potassium. I want you to think of these minerals like a rich fertilizer being mixed into water for really dry soil. They fundamentally change how the water behaves right at the cellular level. So instead of just letting that water drain away and turn into urine, those trace minerals actively help your colon grab onto the moisture. It softens the stool exactly where it needs to. And remember, we're just talking about a tiny pinch here, just enough to slightly change the taste, not some heavy saltwater flush, okay? And that brings us to habit 3, the Mediterranean shot. Okay, let's recap. We've unblocked the valve in bed, we've hydrated the surface with our warm salt water, and now we're heading into the kitchen for a traditional Mediterranean remedy that just packs a massive biological punch. We are talking about cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil mixed with fresh lemon juice. The olive oil brings 2 magical compounds to the table. First is oleic acid. This literally coats your intestinal walls and dials down the low-grade inflammation that causes motility to slow down in the first place. Second, we have ileocanthal. This stuff is fascinating. It actually acts remarkably similar to ibuprofen. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory, but without any of the harsh side effects on your gut. Now, you're probably asking, so why add the lemon? Well, squeezing half a fresh lemon into that oil is what triggers your gallbladder on an empty stomach. And when your gallbladder wakes up, it releases bile. Here's the secret. Bile isn't just for digesting fats. It is actually your body's absolute premier built-in gut lubricant. It softens the intestine and completely restarts those wave-like muscle contractions to get waste moving. Now, pause for a second because I really need you to pay close attention to this warning. You want to start with exactly 1 tablespoon of olive oil, not 2, not 3, just 1. Remember, our goal here is gentle, daily lubrication. We do not want to trigger a sudden laxative effect that sends you making a mad dash for the bathroom. Taking too much oil right out of the gate can definitely cause loose stools or stomach cramping. If your system isn't really used to taking in pure fat first thing in the morning, be kind to it. It's perfectly fine to start with just half a teaspoon for the first 3 days, and then slowly work your way up to the full tablespoon. And that brings us to the second huge mistake people make with this shot. You take your oil and lemon, and then, right on cue, you immediately reach for the coffee pot. Nope. You absolutely must wait 15 to 20 minutes before pouring your morning coffee. Why? Because coffee is highly acidic, and it moves through your stomach at absolute top speed. If you chase that beautiful olive oil coating with a hot cup of coffee right away, you are quite literally flushing the protective coating right down the drain before it even has a chance to trigger that vital bile response we just talked about. You gotta give the biology time to actually do its job. Let's put it all together. Here is the perfect morning sequence. Let's bring all 3 of these incredible tools together so you know exactly what your morning should look like tomorrow. At minute 1, you're still lying in bed, right? You do your gentle 60-second ileocecal valve massage to clear the path. Minute 2, you step out of bed, head to the kitchen, and slowly sip your warm water with that tiny pinch of unrefined sea salt. Gotta hydrate the system. By minute 7, you've finished the water and you just hang out and give it 5 minutes to really absorb into the colon wall. At minute 12, it's time to take your 1 tablespoon of olive oil and lemon juice to seal and lubricate everything. And finally, from minute 13 onward, you just chill and wait that crucial 15 to 20 minutes before making breakfast or pouring that coffee. It's such a beautifully logical flow. Unblock, hydrate, lubricate. Now, as always, we need to be smart and responsible here. You definitely want to consult your doctor first if you have active gallbladder disease or GERD. In those cases, the fat stimulation could cause a little discomfort, so you definitely want to start super tiny with the oil. If you have kidney disease or high blood pressure, even a tiny pinch of salt needs a thumbs up from your physician. If you've had recent abdominal surgery or you have an active hernia, go ahead and skip the massage step entirely until your doctor clears you. And finally, just double check with your doctor if you're taking any prescription blood thinners. We always want to adapt these tools to fit your unique health profile. So the absolutely crucial takeaway from today's explainer is this. Aging bowels do not need more dry bulk. They need intelligent lubrication, and they need movement. So here's my question for you. Which of these 3 habits are you going to try tomorrow morning to finally get your gut lubricated? Are you going to start with the wake-up valve massage, the warm salt water, or maybe that Mediterranean oil shot? I want you to jump down into the comments right now and let me know which one you're choosing. Let's finally ditch that frustrating fiber myth once and for all and give our bodies the actual biological support they're begging for. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. And honestly, I absolutely cannot wait to hear about your results.